Welcome to Smoke Signals, everyone. I'm Matt Montgomery, along with head football coach Wayne Coleman. Fighting Indians got off to a tough start last week down in Nacogdoches. Coach, the Dragons were really good. I mean, we were talking a moment ago just about how big and physical they were, and some of that stuff sometimes doesn't show up on the video, but they were really a strong team, I thought.
Yeah, they have a great team. Sometimes when you're watching video and they're playing, opponents like Tyler Lee, you don't get a feeling for how big a team is. They had some big kids. We were a little mismatched there size-wise. And then they actually did a great job in their secondary of taking away some of our passing game.
Very physical in the secondary. And I think they were more physical in the secondary than Carthage. I mean, they really got after Chris. And, of course, Jalen had no catches. I mean, they really took him out of the game as well.
Yeah, Tyrese really is the one that had the best game at receiver. And he continues to get better every week. So we've got some options there. We've got to have plans for when people are taking away Chris, and these other kids have got to step up and make plays.
I think a big turning point of the game was when you got the onside kick. Just beautiful. We'll look at that in a moment on the highlights, but then you weren't able to get anything out of it. That kind of turned a little bit. That was a point of the game that I thought, you go in and score right there, it's going to change the mental outlook of the game totally.
Yeah, we had a chance to tie it up 14-14 right there, and we in fact hit the hook and ladder and got the ball down there in really good field position there, and ended up not getting it in.
And defensively, we all talked about the size differential, but once their backs got to that second level, they had some speed.
Yeah, that kid has been playing running back for them probably his third-year starter. Yeah, exactly. So he's a real experienced kid, strong kid, and then you combine him with their three-year quarterback. They're very mature, experienced kids in the backfield.
Offensively, it just seemed like the rhythm, you couldn't get into the rhythm. And I think you have a rhythm offense, and you kind of get rolling, and they would just seem to take away things. And, boy, they were not going to let you go deep.
Yeah, they played it safe back there. We had more unforced errors than we've been having. Had some false starts, had a turnover that we normally wouldn't do. Chris was, giving some extra effort trying to get some more yards. So we did a lot. We did a lot to help the Dragons ourselves.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights. Jacksonville versus Nacogdoches. Of course, this is a great effort here by Casey Kennedy. This was our congratulations play of the game. Watch him stick the ball over.
Yeah, good effort there by Casey. That was big there, trying to get things going.
Here's the onside kick, starting to develop a bit of a niche here. Isaiah Mallard goes up and gets it.
Great effort by Isaiah. A great kick by Santos.
And, of course, this next play, Coach, was so close to being a score. Aaron just 1 foot out of bounds right here.
Yeah, it's a game of inches. I mean, his foot literally was 1 inch into the white there.
We mentioned Tyrese a moment ago having a big game. Here's one of his catches, 21 yards.
He's really gotten better every week. Very, very proud of him.
And here's a big sack from Aaron Richardson, playing both sides of the ball for you.
Yeah, Aaron's been a great leader for us. The kid plays about 100 snaps every game.
Here's Sergio Moreira getting a big sack.
Sergio, joined us this year. Hasn't played a lot of football, but gets a big sack there for us.
Here's Patrick going in on the read for the score.
Pat does a good job of sticking it up in there and get a couple yards when we need it.
Boy, here's a monster sack here by Bryson Tatum.
Bryson ran the blitz and put him right in the right spot there. He made the tackle.
Regrouping, it's only one game. You have 6 more district ball games. Of course, Whitehouse coming in this week to Tomato Bowl. What can you take away from this game from Nacogdoches?
Make the other team beat you. We're going to have quality opponents. We don't need to contribute with false starts and jumping off sides on defense and turnovers. We've got to make the other team beat us. We've got a good football team, but we're not good enough that we can make mistakes, and we've got to clean those mistakes up.
So it's Whitehouse at Tomato Bowl Friday night, and Coach, this is a team that kind of hard to figure out. They opened up with a district win over Mount Pleasant, which I'm not going to say I was totally surprised. It was at Whitehouse, but I thought Mount Pleasant would have fared better. Maybe they just had a bad night with mistakes, but this is a good Whitehouse team. Do they throw the ball like they normally do?
They throw the ball pretty well. They've had better passing teams in the past. they do a good job of mixing it up. The thing about Whitehouse is they're always so fundamentally sound on defense. And they had 2 weeks to prepare for a Mount Pleasant offense that jumps in shotgun, then jumps into wing T, which that really played into their advantage there. You're going to need 2 weeks to get ready for that kind of an offense.
Of course, a common opponent, they played Henderson week 1, you played Henderson week 2. You scored 40 points on Henderson. They didn't score. They only had 70 yards of total offense. And again, the first game, kind of weird stuff. But is that any kind of barometer for people to look at?
Not really.
No, comparing scores is really a bad habit to get into. They've gotten a lot better since game 1, and we've made some steady improvement. We need to find out how much better we've gotten, but we got to find out if we can play a cleaner game, a mistake-free game.
Teams are starting to take away Chris Carpenter from you. Last week they took Jalen Freeney away. What are you going to do this week to attack Whitehouse for offensive to defensive?
Now, you got to move your kids around, and we're starting to do that a little more. But, you know, in the end, you can find a way to double a guy every snap. That means the other kid's got to step up and make plays. That means your running game's got to get going. You can't just keep saying, oh, well, Chris is doubled, we got to throw the ball to this guy or that guy. If you put 2 average defenders on Chris and then you put your 2 best defenders on Tyrese and Jalen, well, then you've got a good matchup plan there in the back end. And then your offensive line's got to step up. And in the second half, we did run the ball better last week. We've got to continue to get better there running the football.
You say they're sound defensively. Does that mean that they're not as prone to the trickeration plays, the hook and the ladders and the things like that?
Yeah, they'll be ready for all that stuff, and they're not going to let you beat them deep on the pass play. They're going to make you complete a bunch of short passes. And, you know, when we get the opportunity with a one-on-one ball that's caught short, we need to break a tackle and make a big play.
Defensively, what will you do to try to defend Whitehouse offensively?
Yeah, we just have been really working hard on our fundamentals. You know, the score didn't really reflect that our defense played better last week. We had a turnover on our own end of the field there early in the game, which gave them an easy touchdown, and then they got a touchdown with 20 seconds left in the game. So our defense did play better. We tackled better. Our run fits were better. There was maybe 2 plays where we totally busted our fits, and they ended up in big plays. But for the most part, our defensive tackling and our run fits are getting better.
And you look like you had some more rotation from a player standpoint on your defense. You had more kids getting in and kind of giving some fresh legs to some of those guys trying to go both ways.
We did. We moved a couple kids up from JV so that we could have some fresher kids out there on defense. And we continue to make moves this week. Some kids are moving down to JV, other kids on the JV are moving up. And that's the great thing about having JV football. The kids get experience down there, they prove what they can do and can't do, and it gives you a chance to let kids make moves during the season.
Coach, what are the keys to the game for your team to get the win?
Take care of the football. It was probably the first time we lost the turnover battle last week. I hated putting the ball on the ground. And then I think just continue to get better defensively with our run fits and tackling.
You had a nice 75-yard drive. I mean, if you can kind of do those kinds of things, you know, it's been a big play offense, but when you can do that.
Yeah, and that makes your defense better.
Yeah.
When they're on the sideline and your offense is controlling the ball and running clock, that makes your defense a lot better. So we haven't given our defense that many opportunities. There's been so many drives this year where we score in 1 or 2 plays, and they got to get right back up and get out there and get on the field. So it hasn't been all the defense's fault. It's been a lot of clock issues where they've just had to play a lot of snaps, and they don't get much rest in between. Either we 1-2-3 out or we 1-2-3 score. And so we've got to do a better job of having longer drives, sustaining drives, and you can only do that if you don't make the mistakes, you don't have penalties, because it's hard to, you know, those times where you're having to call plays on 2nd and 20, that's not very much fun. You're probably not going to be successful.
Jacksonville versus Whitehouse in the second week of district play 9-5A. We'll be on the air at 6:45 on jhs-sports.com. Hope you tune in. For head coach Wayne Coleman, I'm Matt Montgomery. We'll see you next time right here on Smoke Signals.